Up next is Scott Brown, who's going to be talking about inspiration and collaboration. Collaboration is the mother of inspiration at the Big Nasty Press. Scott will describe the development and production process of portfolios and other projects that they work on.
We typically think of artwork as the creation of a lone genius working in isolation to create a singular, unified work of art. We rarely think of art as collaborative effort, multiple artists creating a single artwork. And if we can't imagine this, it can be difficult to conceive of the resulting work would hold together in form, style, and content, but a recent project at the Big Nasty Press does just that. My wife and I opened the Big Nasty Press with a mission to educate other artists in the fine art of printmaking while engaging in collaborative projects. We create portfolios that represent a collection of artists exploring a variety of themes, and techniques. Relief printing is our chosen medium, often combined with letterpress. A block relief print is created through a process typical of any artistic endeavor. For an individual artist, any new work begins with an idea. A concept is developed and refined, usually through the act of drawing. Once an idea is conceived, it is materialized in a sketch and reworked until it is shaped to reflect the artist's concept. When creating a block print, the refined image is transferred to the block in a manner similar to what you see here. An image on tracing paper is easily transferred to the block, and the resulting graphite image can then be reinforced with pen and ink or a Sharpie marker, making the image permanent to give the artist a clear and sharp image for the carving process. Here the block is being cut. We use an unfinished linoleum, the same material some of you probably have in your kitchen or bathroom, and although the linoleum we use is in its raw form and has not been finished or decorated with colors and patterns typical of a linoleum floor, we use a carving set to carefully remove all of the materials not delineated in the artwork. Once the block is cut, it is ready to print. The raised surfaces are inked with a roller. The block is placed on the press bed and covered with the paper to be printed by the moving the carriage over the block, and pressure is applied and the ink is transferred from the linoleum to the page. Do this over and over again on several pieces of paper and you have created an edition. After working through several projects where artists created their own visual statements adhering to various themes, we wanted to push the collaboration further with the hopes of undermining singular ownership of a given image. We chose a reductive process that would allow for several artists working in turn to develop an image on a single piece of linoleum, a process which would allow for shifting meaning and novel solutions. This is how it works. Artist 1 receives a blank slab of linoleum and conceives an image that can be articulated by removing not more than approximately 1/3 of the block. The image is inked and printed to produce multiple copies before the carved block is passed on to a second participant for further embellishment. No information is shared other than the image created by the previous artist. Responding to the image already carved into the block, the second artist is free to add images, explore textures, and develop existing imagery. New images can have a profound impact on the meaning or intent of the image created by the previous artist. In this example, the second artist brings a spiritual aspect to the piece with an art historical reference. The image is now more than the two images could ever be on their own. The third artist in the rotation receives the block and has now been altered by two previous artists. The choices for this participant can seem limited. The artist can continue with the themes already developed or take an entirely new direction. In this case, the imagery chosen broadens the theme of one piece and takes into account the scientific as well as spiritual, giving the piece a wonderful alpha-omega undertone. Three artists, one seamless message. We find it rather remarkable that despite differences in approach to image making, different thematic concerns and stylistic differences, that a work like this can hold together, much less have such a profound and concise message. Our latest portfolio, Reduction Rowdy Round, explores this idea. 12 artists in teams of 3 work together on 3 different images. Each artist received a blank linoleum upon which they set up an image for 2 other team members to engage. This image is by Don Fulmer. What is it? What if I told you it was a light fixture in a dining room? If you said UFO, you are not alone. David Morano saw much the same thing and decided to explore the theme of galactic travel with the addition of the hitchhiking tortoise. Both images share certain similarities in form and potential content. Bringing them together creates new meaning and a new story being told. The third artist in the rotation now has the obligation to tie up the story. While seeming non sequitur, the addition of the dung beetle continues to riff on themes of travel and, in a sense, the mobile domicile. Interesting how far the original image has deviated from the domestic lighting fixture originally envisioned by Don Fulmer. Nature is a common theme for artists to explore. Here, what appears to be an owl in the moon seems set to set the stage for a nocturnal scene. An owl perhaps perched on a branch with the moon rising above. A common theme, but artists are anything but common, and by tapping their creative impulse, what for an average person might be obvious, an artist sees potential for the unexpected. Here, the solution truly shifts the meaning into new territory. No longer an owl in the moonlight, the image is transformed into a recognizable scene being played out in backyards across the country. Limited only by her imagination, Michelle Brown responds to Don Lynn's image in a way that is completely unexpected, but the transformation does not end there. Alex Arsenault dragged the image far from the common backyard activities explored by Michelle and sent the image into a rather dark and fantastic realm with the addition of tentacles dragging the unsuspecting lad into the abyss. We bring all of these ideas to a conclusion that demonstrates the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. Which brings us back to the image that I began with, which started with this strange and non-objective arrangement. We received a block from Brady Scott. Michelle and I ruminated for days, attempting to discern what was being intended here. Seeing something that reminded me of a basketball, I chose to print it in orange and pass the block on to Joshua Monahan for him to figure it out. And boy, howdy, did he figure it out. Interpreting the hourglass shape as a birth canal, Josh's additions came completely out of left field. Anything but expected. We worried that Brady's foundation left the image so vague that it lacked potential for meaning. We couldn't have been more wrong. Josh saw the potential for meaning in nothing more than a shape, as though it was intended that way all along. Bill Sheldon picked up Joshua's imagery and ran with it, exploring themes of innocence and Eden. With the addition of the jungle-like silhouettes and a serpent framing the entire composition, it is difficult to imagine that a piece like this represents the merging of separate and distinct personalities. The seamless integration of disparate ideas in work like this lays bare the idea of art as language, able to foster collaboration through visual dialogue.